You ever get that feeling that you're not just watching a football story, you're witnessing the ground shake beneath an entire league? That's where we are right now. What happened in Cleveland isn't just another preseason drama, and it isn't just about one rookie quarterback. No, this feels like a reckoning, a line in the sand where the old NFL and the new NFL crash into each other, and the shockwaves are already ripping through stadiums, boardrooms, and living rooms across the country. And before I dive all the way in, let me tell you this. I've got something special lined up for my viewers. I'm giving away a jersey to one of you, completely free. All you've got to do is drop a comment below and make sure you're subscribed. That's it. I'll be pulling a winner from the comments and subscribers right before the first regular season kickoff. So if you've ever thought about joining this community, now's the time. Hit that subscribe button, leave your take in the comments, and you might just be repping a brand new jersey when the season begins. Now, back to the chaos. Because what we saw Saturday night, Browns versus Eagles, wasn't just a bad game. It was a collapse so massive, so embarrassing, that executives, sponsors, and even league officials are calling it an existential crisis. And it all started with one decision. Kevin Stefanski benched Sanders. Now, let me break it down. 2 weeks ago, the Browns-Panthers matchup pulled in 5 million viewers. That's solid. That's money in the bank for networks, advertisers, everybody. This time, barely 200,000. That's not a dip, that's a free fall off a cliff. Networks lost millions before the second quarter even started. Fans who had packed into the stadium saw the lineup, realized Sanders wasn't playing, and they left. Whole sections emptied out in protest. Concessions tanked, parking lots turned into ghost towns, and television audiences bailed instantly. By halftime, Browns ownership was on the phone in emergency calls. Sponsors wanted explanations. League executives demanded answers. Broadcasters whispered the ugliest words in sports media: toxic inventory. That's what the product became without Sanders. And you already know how the internet reacted. Hashtags trending nationwide, viral clips of fans torching Sanders' jerseys in anger, not because of him, but because of the franchise holding him back. Season ticket holders canceling en masse, corporate partners threatening to walk, sportsbooks terrified as betting interest plummeted. What started as a lineup decision spiraled into a financial nightmare that reached every corner of the NFL's empire. But here's what makes this story so different. Sanders isn't just a rookie quarterback. He's a gravitational force. His social media following eclipses veterans. His jersey sales didn't just top the league, they broke records. His highlight reels pull millions of views that outperform entire team accounts. He's pulling in international fans who never watched football a day in their life. And when Sanders doesn't play, they don't watch, period. The NFL has never had a player like this. He's not just an athlete, he's culture, he's entertainment, he's fashion, he's the future. And that's why sponsors like Nike, State Farm, and Pepsi poured millions into Sanders-based campaigns. That's why networks lined up primetime games built entirely around him. Without Sanders, the entire business ecosystem, from TV ratings to sponsorships to betting, collapses. And don't think the locker room hasn't felt it. Veterans who once defended Stefanski's process are speaking out. One player was overheard saying, "I didn't sign here to play in empty stadiums." That tells you everything. Trust in the coaching staff is crumbling. Even assistant coaches are reportedly questioning whether this decision could tank their own careers. Inside the organization, it's chaos. Jimmy Haslam, the owner, supposedly called Stefanski's choice organizational suicide. League officials are furious. They've invested too much into Sanders to let one coach's stubbornness risk billions. The NFLPA is watching closely, framing this as suppression of generational talent. And behind the scenes, even Sanders' father, Dion, is said to be livid, though he stays publicly quiet for now. Meanwhile, Sanders keeps showing up, keeps practicing, keeps proving he's healthy, ready, and more than capable of leading the offense. Teammates whisper that the energy shifts when he's on the field. Defensive players admit they can't stop him. Offensive coaches argue his talent transforms the system overnight. The data backs it up. Every advanced metric says he's ready to start. The only thing stopping him is Stefanski's old-school philosophy. But here's the dangerous part. This isn't just about Cleveland anymore. Owners across the league are watching closely, terrified of what this means. If fans revolt like this in Cleveland, what's stopping them from doing the same elsewhere? Are we entering an era where one player, one personality holds more power than an entire franchise? Because if that's the case, the NFL's traditional model is in serious trouble. Think about it. If fans and sponsors attach themselves to players instead of teams, then the league isn't just selling football anymore, it's selling personalities. And Sanders has all the leverage. He doesn't need the NFL as much as the NFL needs him. He's got cultural influence, entertainment options, and business ventures that stretch far beyond the gridiron. If Cleveland keeps him sidelined, they're not just risking wins, they're risking the very relevance of their franchise. And the numbers don't lie. Merchandise sales for the Browns have crashed 80%. Ticket brokers are bleeding money, with seats going below face value before kickoff. Local businesses, sports bars, hotels, restaurants are already reporting losses. Even the secondary market has collapsed. No Sanders, no demand. The media, they're not holding back. ESPN analysts are torching Stefanski's decision. National columnists are calling this organizational malpractice. Local radio hosts are comparing it to sabotage. Sunday pregame shows are preparing nuclear takes, framing the Browns as the most dysfunctional franchise in sports. And let's not forget what's looming on the horizon, Week 1 against Cincinnati. That game was supposed to be a crown jewel, Sanders versus Burrow, the kind of matchup that sells out stadiums and breaks TV records. But if Sanders isn't starting, imagine what that stadium will look like, half empty, silent, on national television. The humiliation wouldn't just belong to the Browns, it would stain the entire league. And that's what makes this saga so much bigger than football. This is about tradition versus reality, about old-school philosophy versus modern entertainment, about whether the NFL is ready to admit that one player, one superstar, can hold the league hostage simply by being too powerful, too magnetic, too essential to ignore. The Cleveland Browns didn't just bench a rookie quarterback, they ignited a firestorm that's threatening to burn through every level of the sport. From locker rooms to sponsorship deals, from ratings to revenue, from local economies to the global image of the NFL itself. And all of it, every headline, every debate, every dollar lost, orbits one name, Sanders. Chaos is spilling into every corner. Gamblers are freezing their bets. Sportsbooks that usually thrive on Browns games are pulling back because they can't build odds around uncertainty. Network producers, people whose careers depend on putting out the biggest highlights, are literally rewriting scripts, trying to figure out how to sell broadcasts when the one player everyone wants to see, Sanders, is stuck on the sideline. Imagine being the guy responsible for hyping up a Browns game and not having Sanders clips to roll. It's like making a trailer for a blockbuster movie but cutting out the star. Nobody's buying it. And it gets crazier. Documentary crews that invested millions into training camp footage are sitting on reels of wasted content because without Sanders, there's no payoff. Former Browns legends, the guys who bled for this team, are calling ownership directly, warning them not to repeat the same disasters of the past. Even politicians are stepping in, mayors, congressmen, because the economic impact on Cleveland itself is becoming undeniable. This is no longer a football problem, it's an economic problem, it's a cultural problem, it's a civic crisis. Step outside the facility and you'll see it. Fans are furious, protesting at the gates. Security is on edge, trying to contain crowds that only grow louder with every passing day. Inside the stadium, staff are losing motivation. Why keep up the smiles when the product on the field is embarrassing? Bars across the city, once packed for viewing parties, are canceling events altogether. National TV executives, they're panicking, scrambling to avoid scheduling primetime Browns games that are destined to be empty, lifeless broadcasts. Everywhere you turn, Cleveland is bleeding money, bleeding credibility, bleeding trust. And all of it traces back to one decision: refusing to play Sanders. And let me say this clearly, this isn't about depth charts, this isn't about development timelines, this is about ego versus reality, pride versus performance. Sanders isn't just a quarterback, he's hope, he's revenue, he's entertainment, he's the future. And until the Browns unleash him, the crisis will only deepen, on the field, in the stands, and in every single corner of the sports world. Cleveland's refusal to play Sanders has already spiraled beyond the game itself. Brands that invested in him are pulling contracts, marketing campaigns built around his face are crumbling, lawyers are circling exploring legal options over breached deals, and the ripple effect goes deeper than the business world. Local high school athletes, once proud to dream of wearing the Browns uniform, are walking away from that loyalty. Kids are abandoning their parents' generational fandom, embarrassed to root for a team that refuses to believe in its own star. Stadium vendors, ordinary people just trying to make a living, are bracing for reduced hours, fewer shifts, and lost income. What once symbolized hope for this city is turning into a public humiliation, threatening to break ties that have lasted for generations. And inside the walls of the organization, the contradictions are eating them alive. Cutdown day looms. They've got to pick 53 players, but their best talent sits idle. Meritocracy doesn't exist when the obvious star is benched without reason. Media outlets are scaling back coverage. Photographers are walking away from games. Even the cheerleaders are questioning their purpose because why hype a product nobody believes in? Medical experts are on record saying Sanders is healthy, fully cleared, no restrictions. Yet somehow the coaching staff spins stories that defy science, trying to convince fans that he's not ready. It's insulting. And the people who usually thrive on the Browns, sportsbooks, advertisers, documentary crews, are all distancing themselves. Nobody wants their brand tied to a circus. The ripple effects are staggering. Construction workers who poured their sweat into building the stadium look around at empty seats and feel betrayed. Alumni who sacrificed their bodies for this franchise are openly criticizing leadership. Even the band, the concession workers, the cleaning crews, they're preparing for cutbacks. This isn't just a football team anymore. It's an ecosystem. Vendors, broadcasters, tourism boards, they're all connected. And right now, they're all paying the price for incompetence. Cleveland's pride has become Cleveland's poison. And then there's the coaching staff, stubborn, illogical, defiant. Former NFL coaches around the league admit what everyone already knows. Sanders should be starting right now. Business schools are already drafting up this fiasco as a case study in organizational failure. Local therapists are reporting spikes in sports-related anxiety among fans. That's how deep this runs. The mental health of the community itself is being affected. The Browns aren't just sabotaging a player, they're sabotaging their future. Empty stadiums, lost revenue, community ties in ruins, a fan base on the edge of open revolt. Without Sanders, this isn't football, it's theater. And worse, it's bad theater. Fireworks, hype videos, intros, none of it matters when there's no one left in the seats to clap. And you know what really tells the story? Even former NFL commissioners are whispering their concerns. They know what's at stake. Competitive integrity requires competence, and Cleveland is dragging down the league's credibility. This dysfunction doesn't just hurt the Browns, it makes the NFL look like it can't protect its own product. Sponsors don't want their logos tied to barren stadiums. Networks are changing camera angles to hide empty sections. Analysts are documenting historic lows in fan engagement. And when Browns alumni refuse to stand behind their own team, it's clear this isn't just bad management. This is a civic embarrassment. At the core of it all, one decision: Sanders. Without him, the Browns have no path forward. The trainers know it, the coaches know it, the front office knows it. You can polish facilities, build weight rooms, upgrade locker rooms, but it means nothing if you refuse to unleash your best talent. Even league-wide sponsors are whispering about pulling back if this dysfunction is allowed to continue. Stadium workers are organizing for protections. Fans are threatening full-blown revolt. This isn't a simmer anymore, it's a boiling point. And now comes Kansas City. The looming showdown isn't just another game, it's an existential referendum. Play Sanders or face annihilation. There is no middle ground. National media outlets are sharpening their knives, preparing nuclear-level coverage if Cleveland dares to bury him again. Sponsors will flee, fans will riot, and we could witness the total collapse of a franchise live in prime time. This isn't just about football, it's about economics, it's about credibility, it's about the very future of the sport. Sanders isn't just a player, he's change, he's progress, he's evolution. Fans demand him, markets require him, the league itself cannot move forward without him. Old philosophies are colliding with new realities, and Cleveland is stuck in the middle, about to be crushed. Saturday night is everything. Play Sanders and restore hope, or bench him and unleash chaos. No more excuses, no more hiding. The entire league is watching, holding its breath, waiting for Cleveland's decision. And that choice, it won't just define the Browns, it could transform the NFL forever.